Gary, thanks for stopping by this week.
Always good to be with you, Sarah.
10,000 applications to the Cheesecake Factory. That really got people's attention. Did the number surprise you?
Not really. We have many people in our town who love to work at high quality places. Cheesecake Factory has been a best places to work the last 2 years in a row by Fortune magazine. And so, when something's new in town and there's a good opportunity, people want to step up and do new things. If you talk to the Cheesecake Factory, they will tell you that most of them, a vast majority, were not unemployed. A very small percentage were unemployed. These were people who were looking to make a move.
What do you mean to make a move? What do we know about the people who applied?
So they're going to be from the hospitality and restaurant businesses, and they're going to be people who are generally, they said over half of their applicants were UNM students, and many of those other remaining were students, and they're part-time workers that aren't ready for full-time work yet, and they need part-time work. And so, if you're going to work for a part-time place, would you work for a mom and pop, or would you like to try your hand at a national chain?
One of the things that we noticed, looking at the comment section, looking at emails we got, and also on social media, people calling out the city and saying 10,000 applications. Maybe there was some confusion about where they came from, but that's a failure for the city. What's your response as the Director of Economic Development for the City of Albuquerque?
I would say that it's a failure in communication. We need to help people understand that we have really grown jobs in all various opportunities, and we have dashboards that show us where the job growth are. Hospitality and the restaurant business is one of the growth sectors for the city right now, along with medical, construction, and some of the other things that are moving forward. And what that tells me is that people are interested in moving and moving up and doing better things. It doesn't tell me anything about how many unemployed we have. It tells me how many people are looking for other opportunities.
I did look at the unemployment numbers. We have a little over 23,000 people officially unemployed right now in Albuquerque, and those numbers don't tell the whole story because people have to actually be actively looking for work to be considered unemployed. But what are you seeing right now when it comes to unemployment in Albuquerque? What do the numbers tell you?
The numbers tell me that we are recovering, not nearly as quickly as we'd like. The statewide numbers, of course, aren't as good, but in the city, we are recovering, and we're looking at various types of jobs, which is good. What I see is that when you have an announcement like Sprint in Rio Rancho closing its doors, the job fair was overwhelmed. They had to cut off the number of companies coming in to look for these folks. So there are companies looking for employees, and there are employees looking for work, and that's a good thing.
Now, how do you get information about national change? Because I did reach out to the Cheesecake Factory to try to get a breakdown. You've provided me with some new insights I wasn't able to get directly from them. But how do you track that? Because they don't have to release that information. So how are you looking at when national chains come in, what that's doing to the local economy and the local labor market? Sure.
The folks, there's certain things that they're going to want to kind of keep to themselves for everything from trade secrets to confidentiality of the people who apply. However, they can certainly gauge the level of participation of the workforce in a community. The folks over at Cheesecake Factory, who are the local folks that we've become friends with, are telling us that they're very impressed with the quality of the workforce here, and they're very impressed with the people that have been here. Many of them knew Cheesecake Factory. What surprised me was many of their applicants had lived in a city where a Cheesecake Factory was in the past, and that's why they knew what a good quality company it was. And that tells me, we hear that everybody's fleeing the state, but quite frankly, among millennials, we've had a growth in Bernalillo County. And so it tells me that there are some people moving here. One of the comments was, I think that every single person from California who's a UNM student now applied because they know Cheesecake Factories very well there.
Now, corporations, national companies are one thing, but a lot of folks also want to see local businesses grow and thrive here in Albuquerque. And so how are you balancing the two of those?
Sure. There's always a place for both in any economy. You want to know that national chains want to be in your market because they do massive amounts of research, and they have people whose full-time jobs is looking at, is this a good opportunity for our store, our newest store in our chain? So that's a good thing. But of course we want to keep the local folks and the Main Streeters and the solopreneurs here, because those companies can then grow and maybe even become second stagers where they can take their goods regional, national, or either international. So it's not an or situation, it's an and situation.
And you mentioned earlier a communications kind of issue. Do you think there's a perception issue here in this news about the Cheesecake Factory and who applied and how many applications there were?
Yeah, you know, it's unfortunate. I think that there's a way that you can take any data. I love Winston Churchill's famous quote, you know, never believe statistics you didn't fabricate yourself. I think there's ways to look at any given situation and say this is bad or this is good. And I think it's unfortunate that we have a lot of folks who just want to say that everything's bad right now. Everything is not great right now. We are working really hard to turn that corner, and I think we are. What I would say is that what we want to do is continue moving people in the right direction towards job creation of all kinds of different jobs and varied jobs, which we need in our economy, and economic mobility and getting people into jobs that are challenging for them and that can move them up.
Gary, we're going to continue following these economic issues, really diving deep into them, but where can people go to get the latest information on what the city is looking at as far as economic development? You know,
we try to be very transparent with the trends so that people, individuals and small companies can look to see where the growth is. So if you go to cabq.gov/econ- for economic dashboard, econ-, you'll see exactly where the jobs are being created and what sectors the GRT growth is so that you can target yourself or your small business services towards those areas.
And we'll put a link to that on our website. Thanks for joining us this week.
Of course.